What's happening, Pod Squad? Welcome into another episode of Stripe It Like It's Hot in the Flesh. Yeah, Stripe It Like It. Yeah, that's why I did it.
I love it.
I know. I wanted people to hear it in their head. In the Flesh, Dave Sorokovsky.
Yeah, one out of one.
I've only known you for 3 years, but I always doubt myself when I say the name. Sorokovsky. What is that?
It's Polish, Russian.
Of course. Eastern European.
All of it.
Obviously.
All of the above. You bet.
Okay, see, I said I'm the world's worst podcaster. I am the worst. I'm supposed to give you a proper introduction. So Dave is here local in Prince George. Cooler company than what we do. We're going to talk about all the stuff you do. Trenchless.
Oh, dear.
It's cool stuff.
It's cool.
It's
so cool. Come and work with us for a week, a month.
I will.
Yeah.
If I had time, I would.
Just do it. Book it off.
Just book it. Yeah, we're going to get into what you do. So crazy cool company. Incredible work.
Thank you.
Is it fair to say like chaotic growing the company to where it is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chaos is mostly mine, though.
Yeah.
That's where the chaos has been.
We're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've perceived something when we had our we had a meet and greet at McDonald's there.
We sure did.
Recently, and I was impressed. Like just the way, like it seems like things have taken a big change for you in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about that.
Cool.
Wow, 30,000 foot view, 3-minute version. What do you do? Why did you start this thing? What is QIS?
What is QIS? Well, QIS started out, what is it not? We used to be the yes man for everything.
Yeah.
You know, want a wall painted? Sure. You know, want an epoxy floor coated? Absolutely. Right? Want a industrial steel bin, dumpster, you know, painted? Absolutely. We'll sandblast and coat that. So I guess that was what we used to do, right? We've since, with the EOS program, we really narrowed it down to two things that we do really well.
Okay.
Yeah. And those are grouting. So we do injection grouting, which is like a void filling, soil stabilization, and re-supporting structures in the ground that might have eroded and failed and whatnot, right? And then we do structural rehabilitation in the form of a spray applied lining. And we spray it while it's hot. And so what we do is it's a hot applied product. It requires a fancy truck and a whole bunch of expensive Graco equipment, which we all know Graco is known for being really cheap.
What?
Really low cost, you know, super easy to entry level to get into.
You believe this guy?
But yeah, so it's been so we spray apply linings for different rehabilitations, whether it be pipeline coatings or you know, we do culvert relinings and culvert linings, which is basically take a failed culvert that has the whole bottom, the whole invert's completely corroded.
Yeah.
And we'll spray apply the structural lining to it.
You just make it whole again.
That remakes it whole again. We give it a new lease for life without having to dig up the entire road.
It's crazy stuff.
So it's pretty neat.
That's not how it started. So when this is cool because I don't actually know the full story. When did you start this and why did you start this? And it wasn't QIS when you started.
No,
either.
it was quantum foam.
Foam.
Yeah, really nerdy name.
Spray foam?
Totally spray foam. So we started 100% spray foam. The idea came, I was a general contractor, built houses, and there was need for industrial or spray foam in general here in town. Yeah. So as a general contractor, we would we price projects out and get kind of, you know, the spray foam was always out of price. It was just always way too much. And so me being myself, being the entrepreneur that I am, I was like, well, what can we do about this, right? Looked into pricing a rig out, looked into pricing out, you know, training and whatnot for the product, and put two and two together. Had a partner when we started out, and we started Quantum Foam. And Quantum Foam, for all you physics nerds, is the space between matter. So I thought, what a fitting name, you know, for filling, you know, spraying studs, you know, spraying walls. We're filling that space between matter. So there was the birth of Quantum Foam.
When was this?
We just had our 10th year anniversary this
10 years?
10 years.
Dang.
So we started out just like moms and pops. Yeah, we'll come do it for you, you know, when we have time, whatnot, right? To growing this monster, and me, you know, loving, and I have a passion for sales. I love sharing good news to people. And with that, it quickly became something that was full-time for a sprayer. And then we full-time for 2 sprayers, and we got to the point we were basically at 3 full-time sprayers at our peak in spray foam. And with that came fireproofing and all the other things, right? And so we kind of, as the market grew for us, as the spray foam industry grew in the area here, we came up with different applications for this product, below grade insulation,
Yeah.
and we started getting into slab jacking. So it kind of morphed into these things with time, and there was no direction. It was like, experienced businessmen coming in with a clear vision of what's going on and where we're going to be in the next 5 years. It was just like, yeah, you want that done? Let me see if I can figure out a way to do it.
100%.
And then I go and figure out a way to do it. Probably not make money in the first 3 attempts.
Yeah.
But after that, really get the skills and carry on.
Totally.
So 30,000 foot view, that's where we started from. Really, it would have been the last 2 years that we've really hyper focused on what we do.
Yeah.
But before then, it was just kind of aimlessly drifting and growing every year. Like every year, we would accumulate more equipment, and I think at our peak we were 12 employees, and very terrible bottom line, but super amazing all the things we did. Great resume, right? Terrible business plan.
Sure.
And then really there was just a turning point in our company. We had we had an issue with the space we leased. And so we had to make a decision as to what we were going to do with our company, whether we're going to take a full field work or still do shop coatings and shop painting at the time, right?
Yeah.
We were known in the area for bed liners for quite a long time.
Yep.
It was so funny. People used to come to us and be like, "Hey, you're the guy that sprays a quantum foam in the bed liner, right? Or in the box." And I'm just like,
I can.
Things wrong with that sentence, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, yes, sure we can. I know what you mean, but that's not how we do it, right? So anyways, long story short is it took, I think it took a maturing of myself as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, to really realize and decide what I want to do and where to want to focus and leverage my energy. And yeah, go through a process, and the EOS process really clarified that for us. Because when we got to the point where it was like, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
It was like, well, we have like 6 things that we can do for you.
Yeah. So, okay, rhino linings, bin painting, foam, like all that. What did you get rid of?
So we got rid of the rhino linings. That was the first thing. Close the shop down, spray and bed liners out the door, right? Because you need the proper booth, the whole setup, right? So that was a big that was a big step for us to. It was like we burned a bridge. Like, we're not going back to that. We're not going to invest in that again.
Yeah. This
is not something we're ever going to revisit. Let's just carry on and look at what the future holds for us. At that point, at that decision, we jumped into. Well, we had already done industrial painting, but we took it really seriously and took it to the next level. And we bid some pretty big projects with LNGC, out in Kitimat, and were awarded those. So that was exciting. It was a new frontier. We're like, whoa, this is cool, right? There's a really big world out there in coatings, and we're just a small fish. And so it was a challenge throughout the whole process. So we got rid of the rhino linings. The shop painting really is what it was, and hyper-focused on field work. And then took that field work we did, which was a spray foam. We did fireproofing, which is sort of spray-applied insulation. And over time, we've been weeding those out as well. Because what we're really good at, where we see the most value and the most need for our services, is in the rehabilitation sectors. So dealing with municipalities, dealing with industrial clients, or CN, for example, right?
Yeah.
And they also pay well. So
yeah, I mean, what
that
you
always
do
helps.
is no, what you do is so niche. It's like who else is gonna repair a culvert bottom? I don't know anyone. I didn't even know you could. I thought you'd have to dig it up and replace it.
I know, right?
Cool
so
stuff.
Did I, as of 4 years ago, right? So
man, when you started 10 years ago, how many kids did you have?
This is a trick question, isn't it?
No,
because I don't know.
You can think about it.
Let's see. 10 years ago, that would be 3.
10 years ago, you had 3.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have
only 8.
Only 8 kids.
Only 8 kids.
Goals, Matt. Come on, 8 kids. Look at his face. He's like busy. That's funny. Yeah. So like,
I blame it on the cold winters here in PG.
Fair enough.
Yeah. They're long.
Yeah. A lot of kids are born in the fall.
A lot of kids are born in the fall. Exactly.
My kids were born in September, October, November.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think we have 4 birthdays in between September and October.
Isn't it crazy? I call it shiny object syndrome. You see something cool that you could do in your company. And of course, you and I were the same brain. We're just like, man, I could do that. I could make that one person happy. So I'm going to learn how to do that thing.
I'll invest $100,000 for that one person.
100%.
Absolutely.
You're like, yep. I'll get 102 out of it, but I'll spend 100 and I'll make one person happy and I'll squeeze $2,000 out of it.
And then I got to pay for labor and then taxes. Oh yeah, the taxes.
You don't even worry about that. You just see this is worth the squeeze, and oh man, alive.
It's the value that you're adding for that client, though, right? Like when you look at it, it's like, man, we can solve all your problems.
Yeah.
Want a cake baked? I can do that too.
Challenge accepted. Bake me a cake.
Right.
How hard was it? How hard was it growing it? So you said at the peak you had 12 employees.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a defining moment when you got to 12 where you're like, what have I done? Because now you don't have 12, right? I think you're close.
We pared it down.
Yeah.
We're 7 right now. So we pared it right
7
down.
key people, and then supplement if you need to.
And then we'll hire on subs if we need to.
Sure.
We'll hire on, inspectors as we need to, right?
So what you've done, I feel like, just talking with other pavement owners, they have a hard time doing that. They don't want to. I don't want to downsize.
Mm-hmm.
But was there a defining moment when you were at 12 where you were just like ripping the hair?
Oh,
out,
absolutely. There was many moments like that. The entire year was like that.
What year?
We were the busiest we've ever been,
okay.
but we were the least profitable we've ever been.
That's
so
crazy.
It was ridiculous. Like we were like, tires were spinning, engines were revving, work was getting done, right? But in reality, the bottom line, actually that year, that's would have been 2.5 years ago now. Yeah. The bottom line, we took a loss.
Dang.
On that year.
Big revenue though, right?
Massive revenue. We grew like 50%.
Yeah.
But we took a loss. And so we kind of, I try to come up with all kinds of excuses or reasonings for it. But at the end of the day, I looked at my payroll line and it was like 600,000 or whatever it was. Or, whatever it was. It was a lot. Yeah. And I looked at that number compared to every other number. And I was like, this has to change. Yeah. This is not sustainable. We don't need more people.
Weird question.
We need people that are skilled in exactly what they do.
Bingo. What does your wifey think of all this? I never met her.
She's a saint. She really is. She's tolerated. She's been 10 in the ride years of this abuse, right? Yeah. She's so supportive. She's fully supportive of me. Cool. Shakes her head at some of my dumb decisions and whatnot, right? That I've done. But like at the end of the day, she's actually the more business savvy than I am. Like when it comes down to for there to be a CEO, she would be that CEO. Yeah, I'm more the visionary. I'll come up with like 20 great ideas or whatnot, the 20 amazing ideas that one of them will pay off. She's the one that'll implement them, and she has that high level approach to business, which is pretty cool. So I've leaned heavily on her in the past, and I still do for big key decisions. She has been supportive the entire way, shaking her head. But now that we've really focused in, it was her and me. We took a weekend off, rented an Airbnb, some cabin on a lake, and we read the entire EOS book front to back. And it blew both our minds. Like, what is this? Is this simple? Business is this simple? And we sat down right there and started creating our processes and started creating our, the vision, starting with the vision, the VTO traction, right? Mm-hmm. And the whole way along, it's sort of foggy for me. It was clear for her that, the how, right? Not the what, because that had to be me. And the two of us, I cannot attribute this where we're at today to me. This is a lot of it has been her, and this has been our teammanship together that we've gone through this. So yeah, it's been quite the journey. And she's definitely the brains behind the operation that way.
That's cool. Yeah, people at our company, like, they don't see Robin very often. We have a new baby. Nothing compared to you.
Congrats,
I only have 3. Well, she's 8 months old now, and it's not a new baby. To you, that's fair. Like, where's the next one?
That's right? Like, yeah, we're ready for the next one. You bet.
But once in a while she'll come by. But she's same thing, man. It's like sometimes I look at the things she's done, mostly from like definitely an HR standpoint or just any big decision and just rational thinking. And it's like, man, I'm really grateful you are here giving me rational thinking.
So good.
Oh, there's been times where I'm like, I'm a pretty calm guy. I'm a calm guy, right? Yeah. But there's been times, especially from an HR standpoint, I'm just like, oh, what are we doing? But to have somebody like that is huge. Well,
and see, I totally agree with you. She's a level head at a lot of the time. Like she is that. She's a sounding board, right? You need that sounding board. That's just like that knows the entire picture, knows most of the picture, right? And then she can quickly jump in.
Yeah.
Me and the opposite of you. I'm a hothead. It's like, that really pisses me off that you did that, right?
Yeah.
And I'll fly off the handle about it and whatnot. Typically 5 minutes later, I'm all cool about it, right?
Yeah.
But she'll be the one that talks me off the ledge.
Yeah.
No. You should probably wait a minute or at least 10 before you write that email. Don't press send yet.
Sure. That's a good principle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you went down from like 12 to 8, 7, like I'm probably to a fault. I like people too much. That sounds hard.
It's so tough, man.
Was it hard?
It's tough. We
even if they're laborers, right? Like, was it hard?
Oh
to
yeah,
actually
it was most of the laborers that went. We kept all of our foremen.
Yeah.
Because they got it, they wanted it, right, and they're capable of it, right. It was if when you adhere to those principles, that GWC is pretty simple. It's like, do you get it? Okay, yeah. Then it's a matter of you wanting it and you're capable of it. Like, capable, we can train you, right? But if we train you and you're still not, then it's just a matter of you not wanting it. So what do? Do we place you somewhere else, or is it just like bye-bye? So it gives you 3 questions instead of making it personal, right? It's like, no, you're just a terrible person, or with the insults, right? This is how it is. It's objective. Yeah. So we made the objective decision, and a lot of it, like, people saw the writing on the wall. They're like, hey, like, things are changing. We can't do the same thing over again. In the meetings, we would have the one-on-one meetings. I was like, hey, that has to stop now. And if this happens again, then we'll have another talk about it. But there'll be some disciplinary action for it. So it organically happened. We didn't have to have 5 decisions that were tough to make and whatnot, right? I think it happened, and we were just extremely shocked that the following year we had basically half of the staff of the year before. And we still grew 50%. And our bottom line, we had a 30% margin, like, bottom line, right?
Massive change
compared to the year before.
Yeah.
I'm taking the net loss, right, of like 10% to 30% on the bottom line.
Yeah.
It was impressive. And so we're like, well, we're doing something right. What is it? We go back to the balance sheet, go back to the income statement, right?
Yeah.
And we sort out that, look at our payroll, it's way down. I'm not paying any less. We're paying even more to the main key guys, but it was just they knew exactly what they were doing, and they did it well.
I'm glad you're freely talking about it. I've got this theory that, especially at around like the $1 million mark, a lot of companies have like dirty, dark secrets about their P&L, and I just, I'm serious. Like, so like, even in some of the mentorship groups I'm in with other contractors in the pavement space, like, no one really talks about the bottom line a whole lot. And it makes me wonder why.
Right.
I think
it
we're
should
all
be talked about.
Yeah. And I think it's probably a little bit ashamed, right? Like, hey, I work my face off.
Absolutely.
I work like 50, 60, 70 hour weeks sometimes. I should have more to show for it than $2,000 at the end of the year.
Exactly.
And you paid yourself very little.
Exactly. You paid yourself a secretary's wage, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I think absolutely it's the I don't say it's like the biggest elephant in the room, but it's one that it's not profit is not a dirty word. Yeah. And we're in business for profit. We're in business to help people, but we're not a charity, right? We expect return in payment, and we expect return in recurring work, right? If we did a good job. And I think it's a trade. And when you look at money as energy like that, what we're doing is we're trading our energy for another energy. It's how do we get as efficient in that energy trade as possible?
You're the second person this week I've ever heard call money energy. Is this from a book or something? What's this about?
I think some podcast somewhere.
Oh, interesting.
It was wild. I've been ruminating on it for quite a while.
Oh yeah, one of the guys I work with in Michigan, he's just said money's energy. I was like, caught my ear.
Yeah, I don't know where it comes from. Okay. But there's 2 analogies. Like, some people, I used to think money being like cake, right? Where it's like you give someone a piece, well, you're left with less.
Yeah.
What really money is, it's like a candle. It's like fire. You can share the energy.
Yeah. And
you're still left with the same amount of energy that you had, right?
I get it.
When it's shared properly.
That's cool. So when we do this podcast thing, I was telling you before we hit record, not a lot of we used to be all striping. So just when I started this, it was me sitting in a mic like, hey, let's talk about how you paint parking lots, which is cool for 15 episodes. And then we've kind of progressed. So whenever we do like a sit down, it's more like higher level business talk. And then people who are more interested in starting striping businesses, they usually consume our short form content and stuff like that. But so I'm glad you're talking about this because, some of the people who listen to this show are very interested in growing their business. And would probably have a really hard time with the idea of letting go of people, letting go of services in order to grow the bottom line, because they're stuck in this feedback loop where they think more work, more money, when sometimes the answer is less is more.
Less is more.
I have a really funny story to tell you, just super short. I'm pretty candid. I haven't really done it a whole lot lately, but when we were really growing in 22, I was pretty candid with our team about like how well we were doing from a revenue standpoint. And I remember when the first time we hit $1 million in a fiscal year, I told the team at a team meeting, I was like, hey, it's the first time we've ever hit $1 million in revenue. And I don't regret it, Dave, but I think I made a mistake because I didn't say comma, but it cost us a lot of money to do it, because I could see, and in fact, there was one incident with an employee later who was talking with a project manager and basically said like, yeah, I made Cam $1 million kind of thing, which you and I know. If you make $1 million in revenue, but it cost you $998,000. Oh man,
I made that same mistake. Oh yeah, it would have been
because you're proud.
Probably
right?
4 years ago. Yeah, we had a big company-wide meeting. We're like, guys, listen. I think it was right when we hit the $1 million threshold ourselves. Like, so probably 5 years ago. And it was like, yeah, we did it, guys. And you could see all of a sudden everyone's attention all of a sudden peak up, right? Because it wasn't something that was talked about ever before, right? Like it was like, hush, don't see numbers on POs or like whatever, like work orders out in the field, right? And then, we did have some of that resentment come back. But I've been so then what I did is I pulled back completely. It was all like, nope, not going to share numbers ever again.
Yeah.
But since with EOS, we do share numbers again with leadership. We do share numbers with the foreman.
Yeah.
Because it's a positive feedback loop when they know that their hard work isn't going for naught.
Right.
And it's not so much about the top revenue, but about the bottom line. Because you guys were so efficient at your projects and leading your teams, right? We managed to net, let's say 30%. And because of that net of 30%, you guys each get a dividend at the end of the year or a bonus at the end of the year, right?
What's up, Pod Squad? This episode of the show is brought to you by our friends at Mighty Line Floor Tape. So, true story, our company started using Mighty Line. We found the product like half a year ago, 2023, we found it, and we started using it, and I was blown away. The product is incredible. And so many of us in the striping industry want to do interior striping, but we also know that interior striping on concrete usually does not work out very well. This is a fantastic solution. If you have customers that want safe walk lines or customized floor decals, check out their website on Mighty Line. It's incredible. They have an awesome portfolio of stuff. And if you've never tried the product before, head to the website, let them know that you got the info from the podcast, and they will actually send you a free sample box. Check it out, Mighty Line Floor Tape. We are so grateful for them to be sponsoring the podcast. That's so cool. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, I'm very familiar with EOS. I'm going to ask you a few questions about it later, but I imagine in the time before you discover the entrepreneurial operating system, EOS, and the traction book and all the how to run a business that way, when you're in the thick of it, how much were you working?
Well, a lot. I was more worrying than anything. There was always this fear in the back of my mind that there was something untended. There was something was going to break, because we didn't have systems and processes. We had a skeleton maintenance program to make sure that the truck and the generator on the truck didn't blow up 8 hours out of town. You know what I'm saying? And have a massive tow bill. So we had a skeleton maintenance program, but it was something that was sporadic. There was no scheduled maintenance. There's no scheduled system, for, okay, this part, it's red tagged. It goes in this, in the quarantine zone. After that, when it's green tagged again, it goes back up on the shelf kind of thing, right? No such system. And so there was always this fear in the back of my mind that there was always going to be at least one major problem on site that Dave would have to come in and somehow magically save with a wave of a credit card, right? It was just going to cost us money. So that would be like one of the biggest immediate differences with jumping on with EOS, was that like it's a process that you follow, right? So the team brings the issues, not just you looking over everyone's shoulders, making sure that the issues are dealt with, right? So,
Gotcha. Okay, so how did that fear manifest itself? So for me, it was before we had an ops manager, project manager, and my fear, a lot of our guys were working in evenings. So like every evening I'd be at home, or literally like even on a vacation, just checking Robin, just like seeing what's going on, right? And my fear was always like, I'm going to see what they're doing in the field. What was it for you?
Oh yeah, that paranoia, that wasn't any different, right? So they'd be out on a job site, they'd be checking in every 2 hours. Everything okay? You
Yeah.
know, how's it going? You know, is a PM happy? You know, like is everything going well? Right? So like there's this paranoia all the way through, right?
Yeah.
Versus having that, well, like as Jocko Willink puts it, right? Like having that decentralized command, like where you trust them to make those decisions and you support them fully in those decisions, and then you come back and you have your debrief as to, you know, how those decisions, whether they were for the best or not, how the project unfolded, right? So yeah, absolute paranoia. It was terrible. It
Yeah.
was terrible. I mean, I'm no, it's not perfect for me yet. I'm still wearing way too many hats, right? I'm holding out for that right. We're looking for the right operations manager for our business. And you know what though? Like it's good for me now with the systems and processes and the traction program to be able to switch and jump between hats, like psychologically, right? Like there's many seats that I fill, right? But each seat requires a certain amount of time, and so I do jump, sometimes even physically jump between seats, right? Just to make sure we're all covered, right? So,
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of business owners get tripped up though, is they can't identify the fact that they're doing 17 things and
oh, it's
they just
crazy.
wake up and do.
Oh,
Was that you too?
absolutely. You just wake up and do. It was no like personal time. It was like get up. First thing you do, look on your phone. You're already responding to an email at 6 in the morning, and then last thing you do before you go to bed is reply back to a potential lead or whatnot, right? That yeah, we'll get to you tomorrow, and tomorrow brings its own pile of crap, right? So it was unorganized chaos, and the more that I've structured my life, the better my life has been. So
Yeah.
yeah,
How's it been? How do you find delegating to your people? Because I know you have foreman now, and so you obviously have some key people. What was the challenge letting go of some of the 17 things, 17 hats? Now you're only wearing 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is. Like, was it like, were you struggling to find the time? Did you feel like you didn't have anyone capable? What was the thing holding you back?
it was trust. It was like I didn't think I could trust them. It was a personal thing. It was a personal decision that I made.
Like you thought they were gonna like screw you over?
I was watching my back. Yeah, like there was a fear of like screwing me over or like unwittingly, dropping the ball, right? And so, but because we didn't have the process for how the job went and what the steps were, like for one example, operations, we have a purchaser, right, who takes care of all of our purchasing, right? We have the operations manager, right, takes care of the entire operation and making sure the products are here and the guys are mobed up and the equipment's ready to go, right? And then we have the foreman who are also in the loop, right? So before it was just like we'd have this app and we'd dump all the information in, and we'd pick a date, drop that date, right, and spread it out over 2 weeks, whatever the job duration was, right, and then hope for the best, right? Everyone just crosses themselves and here we go, boys. And I kind of prep the guys beforehand and get them going, right? Whereas now it's broken down on a board. We have a whiteboard. It has all the steps and processes from a job.
Yeah.
So from like PO receipt. What's the next step that operations has to do once they receive the PO?
Yeah.
It's, go to QBO, start a project. Next thing to do is go to site docs and start a project there or location there, right?
Yeah.
With the same number. And it's just a step-by-step written process that anybody can follow. And then it keeps accountability because the foreman's responsibility, it's not only the operations manager to gather up the equipment for the project or even to find out which equipment is necessary. That's a foreman level responsibility. They know what they need best for the job, so leave it to them. And that brought a lot of peace of mind because now it's no longer Dave having to have it all. First of all, it's all in my head. And then, now it's on paper, but it's now delegated. Now it's like, okay, if the sheet's in this folder, that's you, foreman. If I see the sheets there too long, then we have to next discussion, next production meeting is like, why are the sheets not filled out? We can't move projects along if we're looking for an equipment checklist.
Totally. Man,
Yeah.
isn't it liberating to write stuff down? Like
I
it's
hate
like,
it,
oh no, it's horrible.
but I love it.
I know, no. We were just talking about that the other
Yes.
day. Yeah. The horrible.
Yes.
Like I didn't start a business to write SOPs.
Oh my goodness.
It's the last thing I
Nope,
want to do.
don't want to do it.
I'd rather do anything. I'd rather sit and chat with Matt than, write an SOP. But
Oh,
it's
my
amazing
goodness.
when it's built. It, like, in our industry and for our company, it was like, this is how you execute a new layout of painting a parking lot. Well, I know how to do that. Like I just figured it out.
Just
I
come
read
talk
a
to
book.
me, man. 5 minutes. I'll
Yeah,
tell you. I'll
yeah,
give you
exactly.
the overview.
Yeah, and then you build this company where everyone's going to Cam and Dave,
Oh my
man,
goodness.
Dave, I don't know how to do this. And it's amazing. Once that document is built, even if it's not that great, it's like becomes the standard that you hold your people to. Oh, so good. So good. What else do I want to talk about?
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. I think we can build on that where what's cool is when you have different seats talking to each other as well, right? So the operations or like a SOP for striping a parking lot, or let's say spraying, sandblasting a piece of structural steel, right?
Yeah.
That you can have a standing operating procedure for that. But it's cool when the scopes overlap, right? When you have an SOP for how a project is to be conducted, right? Let's say starting from operations through to project management. But then the different seats talk to each other, right? So like the front, your purchaser lady, right? She has her responsibilities that tie into the project, and everyone then gets to see that it's not just Cam or Dave that's the brainchild of this operation. It's actually all of us play a part, and if we don't play that part, then the machine stops. It grinds to a halt. Whereas before it was like, freaking Dave, get your shit together, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man. So I have a funny feeling though. It's not just as simple as reading one, business operating book for you. Well, maybe it was. Maybe that reading Traction and what the EOS was the catalyst. But what else? What was like? What helped you to like overcome? Because like 7-8 years of doing things a certain way, and then deciding, you know what, we're gonna do something different. That's a big change. And truly, Dave, it makes me sad when I see business owners, and you probably feel the same, who are stuck doing it the same way, and they just never make the change, and they just like, this is the way it is. I have to work 60 hours a week.
I just have to. Yeah, I gotta say no to everything fun in life and just grind.
So what besides reading that book about EOS, what else did it for you? Was it like mentorship?
It was mentorship. It was reaching out to other like-minded individuals, like such as yourself, right? You and I've had a chance to chat on a few occasions, and understanding that it's not just a Dave journey, right? I've always felt that, my journey is just mine, and it's like, this is just, everyone else has it figured out and Dave just doesn't for some reason, right? Or whatnot. But when you network with people, they're in the same position. Their strengths might be operations, but their sales are dwindling for whatever reason, right? And you can exchange ideas. And it was you that invited me to that pavement group, which in the end it wasn't a great fit for whatever reason, but that changed my perspective that there's communities out there, there's people out there that want to share. Yeah. And before that, I thought people were idiots if they shared trade secrets. And now I'm the complete opposite. I want to share my secrets. I want to share how I do things because it for many reasons, right? But the largest, I think, would be that it gives others a chance to learn something that I've learned the hard way, right? Yeah. And they can avoid the same failures as I did, which as a whole for the industry is a great plus.
Yeah. And
second of all, there's no better way to network when you're the one providing the juicy details.
There you go.
So
when are you starting your podcast then? And your YouTube channel?
This year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
This year.
Yeah, this place is pretty sweet, eh? Yeah.
I think it's cool.
It's awesome.
I think it's great.
A diamond in the rough. Man, that's so cool. Okay, what time? Yeah, we got time. I want to ask you about EOS. Matt, have we done any content about EOS traction? I don't think we have. No. Because it's like, there's no rule, but I think you generally, when you get to like 7-figure mark, that's probably when you implement it. Give us like the 2-minute summary. What is this EOS thing?
What is it? It's everything.
I had to explain it the other day, and that I was like, it's life.
It just is. It's a way of life, right?
Yeah.
Some people go to monasteries. Other people, they just follow EOS. It's an accountability software or a system is the best way I can describe it, right? It keeps each division, each seat, I guess you would call it, accountable and focused on the same goal, right? Because that's how you get traction, is when all 4 wheels are pointed in the one direction. So the book, it's enlightening, but the process is even more so, because it starts to shine light in areas where you might not want to, right? And if we just do things that we like to do, then I'll be doing sales every day of the week, right? Or marketing or whatever, right? But taking care of what needs to get taken care of and having the metrics that you've put in place to check in and make sure those seats are being taken care of, right? Then the entire business can move forward, right? So The way I've described it is it's an accountability metric. It's an accountability system.
Yeah. And how do your people like it?
They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like foremen, they love it. It gives them a chance to, like, structured gives them a chance once a week to voice any and all concerns they have. That we have it like where they're reoccurring concerns, right? It's an issue if it's reoccurring, right? So they love it because things are actually getting solved. It's not just monkeys in a cage being let out in Dave's office and the door shut and everyone walks away, right? It's like, okay, here's all the monkeys that we have. We have to now contain all these monkeys. How are we doing this? And the floor is yours, guys, right? I can actually sit back and listen and just input at the end instead of having to close a door and rack my brain as to how I'm going to make this work for everybody here.
Man,
right? So
I was just, you make me happy talking to you. I was just reading or listening. Sorry, I was listening to somebody who described it that way. Old school business thinking. You have people in the field, your foreman, who gather the information, bring the information up to Dave, and then say, make the decision, right? Because you're the guy. And that's old school thinking. And a new school thinking, what I really, really am trying to do at our company is let's push authority down. Let's give autonomy down, agency down. Let's let the foreman of the world make their own decisions based on the system and the process so that they have a measure of autonomy. And that way, instead of information flowing up, leadership gets pushed down.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Like our foreman, I mean, it's something simple, but they have a credit card and they have a credit card with a $2,500 limit right now. And it's like, you don't have to ask permission to use it, right? Just be accountable for how you do use it.
Bingo.
Right? Like, I don't want to text, hey, Dave, I want to buy this from Home Hardware, in Prince Rupert, right? Do I have your permission? Can I have a PO for that, right? Like, no. It's like, use it and as long as it's accounted for, carry on, right? Make a decision in the field, right? Like, let's say there's a delay and you want to pull guys off for whatever reason, right? Like, make that decision and just stand by it, right? But I fully support you. You have an issue within your team. This is the big one, because issues in the team were always brought up, right? Hey, Dave, I've got a problem. Yeah. Hey, Dave, I've got a problem with this guy. Can you talk to him? Can you solve it? And before I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. It never goes well. And now it's like, listen, like this is your team. Take ownership of that team, right? And I fully support you in your decision, right? As long as you're doing it with love and respect, I fully support you. And it's been awesome because, hey, there's less monkeys in my office.
There you go. Yep, that's the way to do it. A couple quick questions. I know you. I don't know if you read books or listen to books. I know you're a consumer.
Both.
You're both.
Yeah,
I try to do both too.
More audible.
Yeah,
I'm on the road a lot,
time.
It's audible.
Time. What's something you've read or listened to recently that you feel like our awesome audience should listen to or read, and why? Like, what did you?
Okay, a very cool book called "The Greatest Salesman in the World," I believe is what it's called. Oh. Yeah,
never heard.
Yeah, it was a random find on Amazon or Audible. It's a completely different approach to salesmanship where you put the value of the person that you're selling to first, right? So it's one of the first takeaways was voice your appreciation for your customer, right? Like, show love to your customer, like to your potential client, right? And everything you do, let it be through love. Right. So, and that goes in, that factor should be in every part of our life. But in a sales environment, it's almost like, like we think of these ideas of like the shark in the room, right? The closer sort of thing, right? Just the guy that gets the deal done, doesn't matter what, right?
The guys on YouTube and TikTok. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. Whereas this is like, no, have the value of the person as number one, and that will include the integrity of walking away if the solution that you have is not the right one for them, like not the right one for them. There could be other ones that will work, but not yours. And I've read many sales books, and that one just struck me differently, right?
Very cool.
Because it's about personal development. How you approach sales is about who you are.
Okay.
And this book focuses on who you are as a person.
Cool. More
so than the client as the objective.
My Audible credit comes up next week, so
right.
I'll look it up.
Awesome.
This is a brutal question. Best business advice you ever got? Maybe not best, but something that made the most impact, or something that was something a mentor told you that was like, I needed that.
Make one hard decision every day.
Oh yeah, I know about this one. You told me about this one. So how do you actually do that? How do you actively go out of your way to make sure you make one hard decision, and why?
I just have that. I got a reminder on my phone at 7 o'clock every morning. So I'm in the office. The phone will go off at 7. Make the hard decision, right? It's called the CAM challenge.
Is that the CAM challenge?
Yeah, right.
Is that what it's labeled on in your phone?
That's what it's labeled as, right?
That's so crazy. I'm in your phone, bro.
Yeah,
Every
totally.
7 a.m.
Every day, right?
Nice.
Saturdays and Sundays included.
That's awesome.
And it's just like, it's just a reminder for me to start the day, not to avoid the hard things in life.
Right.
And if you need to have that discussion, just have it and just deal with it and then move on.
Yeah. By nature, are you a person that?
I avoid at all costs.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like,
so wait, but you said you're like a hothead guy. Usually that's like the.
But it's because of how hot I can get that I typically avoid challenges because I blow over the top. Like, I don't mind getting into a fight.
Oh, okay, I see.
But when I do, it does not leave the relationship intact.
So you have enough awareness to go, maybe I shouldn't I'm going to step away from this so I don't.
This is what happens exactly. I will step away long enough that I forget to deal with it.
Smart. No, I'm sure your wife helps
terrible.
you with that too. Well,
absolutely she does.
Well, better is if you can make the hard decision every day, right? It's probably why it's in your phone. Make the hard decision, have the conversation without going to the extreme.
Right, exactly. And so I found another good book to read would be I forget what it's called, but it talks about calibrated questions.
Calibrating questions.
Calibrated questions, yeah.
You talk, I'll look it up.
Chris Voss.
Oh, I know him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the author.
He's the negotiator guy.
Exactly. That dude.
The negotiator dude. Yeah.
Never Split the Difference. That's the name of the book.
I've never read it.
Read it.
Really?
It's a very cool book.
So should I get that one or the salesman one, or should I get both?
Both.
Ooh,
buy it.
Okay.
If you're traveling lots, buy it and read them. Okay. They're good for different reasons. Calibrated questions are, for me, I would lead conversations a lot of the time with assumptions or with my understanding of situations.
Yeah.
Calibrated questions it's a question.
Huh.
So what am I supposed to do about that?
Yeah.
Right. So if something comes back to you they don't like, or that's a result that's subpar.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to do about that? We had to deal with one of our partners in business here recently, and I would say it could have been nastier, but it was not friendly to part ways. And they were very good at avoiding confrontation, right? And so the way that we had to drill down was just asking those calibrated questions, like, "Hey, what am I supposed to do about that? Like, this isn't done. What am I supposed to do?"
Yeah. Interesting.
It just kind of puts light back on the situation, the problem, instead of them.
Yeah.
Or yourself, right? So
cool, bro. See, this wasn't that hard. You said you were nervous before.
How long has this been?
I don't know. 42 minutes, 41 minutes. What does it feel like?
10.
It just flies by.
It does.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep it to 40. Well, I know why I'm keeping it at 45 minutes today because I got to pick up my kids in a little bit. But I try to keep it to 45. Well, that's cool. Last question. What does the future look like? Where are you going? What are you doing?
The future is great.
Obviously, the future's great.
Dude, it's cool. We have a 10-year plan all laid out, and it includes taking over the entire world.
Does it?
Yeah.
Like Pinky and the Brain style?
Basically. Yeah.
Are you Pinky or the Brain?
I'm the Brain.
Yeah. Wait, who's Pinky?
My wife.
No!
She won't listen to this.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good.
Don't forward it to her.
I will not.
It's we have a 10-year. I have to practice saying this out loud. We have a 10-year goal of being 3 provinces, right, and 5 states. So 5 of the Northwest United States.
Yep.
And we'll be in our geography. We'll have locations in all of those states and in all those provinces, and we'll have a crazy annual revenue. But the biggest factor is going to be our bottom line. It won't be 1%.
15? 10?
It'll be 20.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah, your work cut out for you.
I do.
That's exciting.
So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, I'm rooting for you. Bro, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. That's it. That's literally it. I have the worst conclusions to the show ever. All right.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you for watching. If you're in the Prince George area and you'd like to come sit in Dave's chair.
It's a hot seat.
It's a hot seat. That's how I end it. Keep your stripes hot. Talk to you next week. Yeah, you survived.
Whew.
Hey, you.